What up, everybody? What up, everybody? Let me get to the spot. Let me get to the spot. Oh, hey, everybody. This is Plan Your Greatness, and I am your gracious host, Carlton Hamilton, and let's get started with this today. We are going to talk about what separates you. What separates you and whatever you do from anybody else. Because I'm always asked this question, like, Carlton, what separates you from all the guys that you were locked up with in prison? Because recidivism statistics say that 85% of people are going to either get some way back or within like 3 years, 5 years, or whatever that number is. But they say that 85% of people that have spent some time incarcerated are going to actually go back in there. So and I believe that number is actually even higher just from my own statistics, but 85% of people are going back into the prison system after being out. Well, I've been out as of this year. It's been 20 years since I've been out. So again, I'm always asked that question. What separated you from everyone else? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you 5 actions or attitudes that I believe helped me along the way to where I'm at right now, where I was able to go back to school. I was able to become a business owner. I'm able to become an author, motivational speaker, and a father. All these things I did after I got out of prison. So let's go ahead and take this ride. All right. First and foremost, you must have a why. You must have a vision. Because I think in the Bible it even says, I'm not some biblical scholar, but I believe it says in the Bible that a vision, that a village that does not have a vision will perish, or something like that. The people without a vision will perish. Now, one of the books that I read, I'm an avid reader, and one of the books that I came across was Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl. This was a Holocaust survivor. And while he was in there, as I was reading the book, I came across this very powerful quote that he said. He says, "Ever more people today have means to live, but no meaning to live for." And what he was talking about was that he saw in his experience, his interactions, conversations with all those people that were in the concentration camps, he said he could see the individuals that actually were holding on to something, a why, a vision, either to go see their kids again, or to see their wife, or to finish some work that was undone. They said they had something that kept them alive. And he said the ones that he saw that actually ended up dying in there were the ones that actually had given up, had felt that they had no purpose or anything in life. And we're seeing that now today with a lot of the youth that are committing suicides and having a lot of depression. They're getting to this mindset that there's nothing to live for. So they had no why, they have no vision, and so that's what happens. Friedrich Nietzsche also said that he who has a why can bear almost any how. Putting that, just kind of summing that up is that when you have a why, when you have a vision, you don't look at the obstacles, you look at the goal. There's an old saying that I have an obstacle in one hand, I have a goal in the other. Which one grabs your attention? Okay, simply for me, it became I was focusing on the goal as opposed to the obstacle, the fact that I was locked up in prison. That's number one. Number two is once I knew my why, I created the why and I created the vision, I then knew I had options. Because up until that time, I felt I had no options. When my career ended, I thought that was the only thing that I was set out to do. Now, looking at all the things that I've created since then, I was absolutely misinformed into believing that all I was good for was just being a professional athlete. So now I said I have options. I felt I had control I felt I had no control over my life in the direction that it was going. There's a book that I read. I don't have it with me. It was an audio book, so that's why I don't have the physical copy of it. But the audio book is called "The Obstacle is the Way," written by a young, I don't even think he's 30 years old, named Ryan Holiday. But he based that book off of readings of Stoicism from Marcus Aurelius. And within that writing of Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius says, the impediment to action advances the action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Basically how Ryan got to the title of his book, saying the obstacle is the way. So when you believe you don't have options, you look at that obstacle When you don't believe you don't have options, you look at an obstacle and just say that's it. It's a wall. I don't know what to do. But when you look and you believe you have options, you believe you have control. So when you have that impediment, when you have that obstacle, you look at it and you say, okay, am I going over, under, left or right? How, or going right through it? You figure out, you say, there's some way of getting through this. I don't know yet, but I'm going to get through it. So I began to realize that I had options, which I didn't believe I had before. That's number 2. Number 3 is once you have the why and the vision, and you now see you have options, typically what people do is then they start creating goals. And that's what I did. I sat down in prison and wrote out a list of all the things that I want to accomplish. And I'm sure in one of my other videos, I believe I showed it. It was a piece of paper that I still have. On that sheet of paper, I wanted to be a college graduate. I wanted to be a motivational speaker. I wanted to be an author. And I wanted to be a business owner. I have checked off every one of those. Now, understand that when I wrote that, I was sitting in a jail cell. Now, to myself, that seemed absolutely unbelievable because as soon as I wrote the list, I closed my journal that I was writing into and I looked around and I was sitting in an 8 by 10 by 12 jail cell. So, how believable is that? So I started, the vision, the options, I set the goals and I made a commitment because then I set a date that by the time I got out of prison, I wanted to have some of these things at specific increments of my life. And so I've checked those all off. Now, one of the other things that I did was, as I mentioned, that I had the goals in my head, I put them on paper. That's number 4. Whatever your goals are, you must put them on paper so you can physically see it. Take it out of your mind, have the kinetics going through your hand and writing that goal down that you can see it every single day. Because I am a firm believer that there is nothing that appears in your life unless it appeared in your mind first. If that's the case, if it appears in your life and you see it was somebody else's, it wasn't yours. So I firmly believe that once you have this why, this vision, you have these options, you set out these goals, you give yourself a date, you put it on paper. Now it starts to become real. Now, after you've done those 4 things, you have the why, the vision, understand you have these options, you have these goals, you commit them to paper. The next thing you need to do is you need to take action immediately. And one of the best examples is if a person says that they're going to lose weight, and they say, okay, my vision is I want to lose weight because I want to look better. What are my options? Do I got the shoes? Do I take care of all that stuff? Okay, what's the goal? I want to be able to run a mile in a month without stopping. Whatever that is, and you commit it to paper. Maybe you say how long it's going to take me. You do all that. Now, the next thing I say you need to do is you need to take action immediately. Go out and go take a walk, run or something. See where you are. Work up a sweat. If it's something else, you do that action. Whatever it is, you do something that is directly telling you that you're moving toward that goal. Now, as I say that, you have your why, you have your vision, you have the options, you have the goals, you make a commitment, you put a date on it, you put it in paper, you start taking action. You know what's going to happen? Life is going to bust you right. It's going to uppercut you. It's going to punch you right in the mouth. You say you're going to go to the gym, your side's going to hurt. You say you want to make some extra money in a hustle, you're probably going to have a flat tire or something on your way to doing something. You say you want to find a girl, somebody better for your life, guy or girl or whatever, you're going to get rejected the first time or something like that. It's going to hit you in the mouth because life is going to ask you, how bad do you want this? Okay. Like I said, life is going to punch you in the mouth. So my saying to myself is my philosophy it's got to be higher than my feelings, because your philosophy is not going to lie to you. It's going to stay constant. You have that goal. You say this is what you must do. Your philosophy is basically going to say, well, get up. If you say you're going to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go in the gym, your philosophy is going to say, get up. But what your feelings are going to do, they're going to lie to you. You get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, your feelings are going to be like, hey, man, don't get back under them covers, man. It's nice and warm underneath there. Man, you don't need to go to the gym today. You can go tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? What's one day? Same thing. Oh, that girl turned you down. Oh, man, nobody ever going to want to go out with you. Don't you ever ask out another girl. You just got to keep going. Whether it's dating, whether it's, working extra hours, somebody's going to complain. Maybe you're working too hard at the office. You say, hey, look, this is a sacrifice I need to make so I can make my goals. Life is going to hit you in the mouth. And at that moment, you've got to be able to go through it, because what's happening is that fear and that old self is creeping in. And so as you can see, these were the things that I did, because when I got out of prison, I started back into school. I stumbled. I got fired from about 3 or 4 jobs because my felony conviction came up. So I didn't let those things stop me. I had the vision. I had the why. I took advantage of the options. I put the goal. I put it on paper, and I took action. Life hit me in the mouth, but I kept rolling, and this is why I'm here today. And I say this to you. I said, if you just take one of these things, you put together a vision, maybe just figure you have some options, you lay out some goals, you put it on paper, you take some sort of action, you do any of those, you will definitely be planning your greatness. This is Plan Your Greatness, and I will say this again, plan your greatness. You know why? Because no one else will. I'll see y'all next time.